Hi, Paul Dickson. I am here today to present a very small but I think significant collection of sports ephemera. And it involves two things, a collection of letters and letterheads and some photographs which I've sort of kept over the years which I think are important. So let me start with the letterheads. What I'm going to show you today are some rather extraordinary letters that were part of a larger collection, a news collection of early baseball and other sports. So the charm of this collection and what makes it important is the content. This is a letter about Branch Rickey, about what was a player, but it's also a 1932 letter when Rickey was still with the Cardinals, with the beautiful Cardinals logo and letterhead, from the head of PR of the Cardinals to the Haskin Bureau, which was collecting news. There were a news gathering information group, and a lot of these come from that collection. Here's the International League again. Ernest Lanigan, who was then later a very famous baseball writer in the early days. Again, each of these has something to do. This is about John McGraw, why they called him Muggsy. Again, these are all sort of interesting. A letter about Johnny Vandermeer from 1938. Again, the Cincinnati Reds, beautiful letterhead. And again, these are all hand-typed, and they're marked up a little bit because they were used by newspapers, but you can see they're all and they're signed. And here's another, again, this is a continuation of that long letter. Here's one from the National League itself, about Johnny Vandermeer. Again, the Heine Manouche. This is about the trade of Heine Manouche. This is the American League, Chicago. This is the White Sox. They call them the professional baseball clubs, American League in Chicago. The Brooklyn Dodgers, a very nice note from the Brooklyn Dodgers. Again, this is about Roy Campanella, the famous African-American player who went to play with the Dodgers after Jackie Robinson. Another letter about Campanella. Again, it's partially just the address and the color, and these are, of course, the fine old stationery. It's watermarked stationery from these clubs. Again, here's another letter about Mel Ott. Here's another letter about Satchel Paige, a query about Satchel Paige. How many shutouts, what did he do for Cleveland? This had gone to the American League. A very nice New York Yankees piece. And what's really nice about this is Bob Fischel, who was very long time Yankee executive, very important in Yankee history, and it has to do with Babe Ruth, and it's again the beautiful old the top hat, the Yankees. Again, here's another letter about Joe DiMaggio, again on Yankee letterhead, and here's an American League one. I'll go through these a little quicker. About Ted Williams. Again, the content of these, he's verifying facts about these people, whether it be their batting average or their nickname. Here's a very nice, I think a very nice Ted Williams letter on Boston Red Sox stationery, and of course the very nice Red Sox. And Yawkey is here. And again, 1954, American League, very nice American League logo on that one. This is a White Sox with the White Sox, about Gus Zerniel. They are so evocative of a period when the traveling secretaries and the officials would write a real letter, type it out, sign it, and they would go out on this beautiful piece of paper. This is from the Sporting News. There's another Red Sox. Dom DiMaggio. It's a letter about Dom DiMaggio. We're back to the Reds again. Gabe Paul, who was a very important executive in the history of baseball, had written this letter. And so they go on and on. This is Chicago again, St. Louis. This is Cliff Cackline. This one's one of the only ones that are damaged. But again, Cliff was a longtime stalwart of the Sporting News, who just died a few years ago, but was one of the great reporters for the Sporting News. Here is a blank press release from the Washington Senators, the old Washington Senators. It's sort of fun to have. It doesn't have any writing on it. Also interesting here, there's several letters. This is not all just baseball, but there's several letters. Here's a very early 1933 letter about Red Grange. from the really early National Football League. Again, letters and correspondence, things from the early days of football are extremely hard to come by. This one is, again, it's a letter of substance. It's from the president of the National Football League, 1933. Here's another one about Red Grange, again, 1936. The beautiful American flag, National Football League. So you've got these from football, which again are substantially different than stuff you normally see in sort of collectors groupings. I put this under boxing, but it's a letter from Jack Dempsey's restaurant, which is in New York City. This is 1942. This was on Broadway at 50th Street, and any old-time New Yorkers will remember the restaurant. Not signed by Dempsey, but it's about Dempsey and about what he. And these are very interesting. This is, I think, maybe the most interesting part of the collection. A series of letters about Jim Thorpe and his trophies from the United States Olympic Committee. And these are from the 50s. These are about sort of discussing the whole business of Thorpe and his medal. There's several letters in here. I've let them get back to back, but you can see here's another 32. And again, these are, this one is signed by, this is actually some of Thorpe's medals and the association there. Oh, this is actually, I threw in a picture of one of the early American softball teams. I don't know what that. And the second sort of album in this collection is about 25 photographs, all from news sources, or many of them are signed. These are all authentic. Here's one of Bill Veeck in his later years. It's a collection of different people. Here's an original press photo of Satchel Paige with the Browns. Again, there's I think there may be 25, 26 photographs in here. The original Bat Day in Cleveland, a wonderful photograph of Beck. As most of you know, or watching this, I did a book about Veeck, and these were the originals. These were photographs I'd obtained in a very difficult way, and often you can see the newspapers how they used to mark them up. I think this was from Sport magazine, and of course I picked these up over years, and others that were interesting to me. This was from the National Archives, and it's not the original, but it's sort of fascinating. It shows Babe Ruth with African American fans who loved him, and it's a very evocative photograph. Here's an original photograph, Associated Press photograph of the signing of Jackie Robinson. This is one I've had for a long time. A picture of Bill Clinton, jumping from that, a picture of Bill Clinton at an Orioles game when he was just gone in the office. Again, there are photographs of Veeck, very early total photographs of the Cleveland Indians. These were official Indians photographs. What's interesting about him was Veeck had broken the color line, and Larry Doby's in here, and Satchel Paige is in here, and it's of a sort of an interesting time. Again, that was the 52 Indians. This is I guess Page is not in there. So this was the earlier one. This is the 49 Indians. That has Page in it. Again, a publicity still from the Jackie Robinson movie, in which Robinson himself played himself in that movie. Another movie which I love. This is a film still, but it's got it's called The Kid from Cleveland. It's got Bob Feller, and it's got Satchel Paige, and a lot of the stars were in that movie. Here's another one with Lou Boudreau and Veeck. And this was from a movie. This is the original movie still that was distributed at that time. I've had this for years. Larry Doby, the first African American in the American League, is in this film. And there are all the players, but in the middle of this all is this actor playing himself, or playing the again another wonderful Page photograph. And these are very hard to find. This another one I just love, which is of an early one of Jackie Robinson playing with the Braves. Here's Bob Feller, a later picture in his life. Again, a group of 20-game winners, all for the Cleveland Indians. These are no-hitters. This is a group of photographs of a group of no-hitters, guys who had thrown no-hitters from various teams. So there's a signed picture from Feller, which I got before he passed away at the age of 90. And again, these are sort of pictures I've loved, and I've just, here's a very early promotion in Cleveland of it was Pet Day, and there's these players with these Indians players with their little puppies, and here's Page. This is a wonderful one, Old Timers Day in Cleveland. Page coming back with Early Wynn in that picture. And one of the early promotions right after Vec in Cleveland, bowling night at the stadium. And again, these aren't the normal pictures you expect to find. And so those, and the other, so this is pretty much the collection. The only other thing I brought along as part of the collection, this was an old illustrated current news. These used to go in the windows of stores. And I've always sort of cherished this thing. They were used as sort of news things, but this was emblematic of the period after World War II. Here's a guy who lost his right leg, and Bert Shepard is his name. He'd been shot down over Germany. He had lost his leg, and he was trying out with the Washington Senators. And it was just so evocative of those guys and their spirit, the guys who fought and sacrificed themselves in World War II. And he didn't become a big ball player, but at least it showed that he had the shot. They gave him the shot. So, thank you.